I'm going to give you two wide receivers that can win you a league in 2020 at 3.01 to 3.05 type value. Both belong, in my opinion, in the 2.09 to 2.12 value range, but you don't have to pay that, and don't, because you don't have to pay that. Kenny Golladay can win a league at 3.1 to 3.05, 3.06. The guy's a top 5 wide receiver. He's situation proof. He had a QB carousel of garbage in 2019 and now has a healthy Matt Stafford. Imagine what he's going to do with a healthy Matt Stafford all year long. Good rapport with his quarterback, a more solid offense, well-rounded and efficient offense. Sky's the limit for this guy. Now, if something happens to Stafford, we know he can survive, and that's the great part about Kenny Golladay. There's very few wide receivers in the NFL that you can say that about. That doesn't matter what happens around them. They will eat, they will do okay, they will survive. That's Kenny Golladay. Top 5, if you want to go late with your wide receiver 1, and by late I mean 3rd round, you go running back, you go running back Mahomes, whatever the case may be, Kenny Golladay's your guy if you want to wait on your wide receiver 1. Mike Evans, everything I just said about Kenny Golladay, apply it to Mike Evans. I like Mike Evans quietly more than Godwin right now. I did early on in the offseason, and then I started to get swayed by the slot wide receiver that Tom Brady's going to lean on all year. I admit, I fell victim to that. Not that both aren't going to be amazing. I love drafting both, to be honest. And I'll draft Godwin ahead of Evans if I want to do my new favorite, Tampa build, where I take Godwin in round 2, Evans in round 3, and Brady in round 8. And while everyone's going to say, oh, but on the bye week, you're going to get screwed. Who cares about the bye week? Why do people worry about a bye week? I'd rather lose 1 week, and I might not even lose it. Because if you understand that I still have a Barkley, or whoever I took in the first round, I still have an A.J. Brown in round 4 or a Kareem Hunt, I'm not totally dependent, my whole roster, on Tampa Bay that week. I could still win their bye week. And even if I was to have everybody, and I'd prefer this, everybody on a bye at the same time, I prefer that. I'd rather lose 1 week than bleed out all year long. What is this bye week crap? Stop with the bye weeks. Don't worry about the bye weeks unless you're drafting your backup quarterback or a situation exactly like that. Don't worry about the bye weeks. I love the Tampa build. My Tampa build teams and my KC build teams are my favorite teams in 2020. And they're not just experiments. I'm doing experiments with them. I have an all KC team. You can find that video in my YouTube arsenal of videos that I just recently dropped. That one. I love that team. It's all KC. All of it. I have every single KC player. If nobody else, I'm going to start KC players on their bye week. I'm going to see if this team can win. Now, that's more of an experiment, a fun thing. But my Tampa built teams are essentially Brady and Evans, or Brady, Evans, and Godwin. And you still have the Barkley, the Kamara, the Zeke to pair with those two wide receivers and Tom Brady. I love it. And they're some of my favorite teams that have built so far in 2020. It's my newfound late August type of build. So Mike Evans can win you a league. Mike Evans can get you 12 to 14 touchdowns. Mike Evans is going to be Tom Brady's go-to guy for 50-50 balls. I firmly believe that Mike Evans will probably finish in the top 4 to 6 for all wide receivers in 2020. And the fact that you can get him in the top of round 3, mid third, steal, absolute steal. His floor feels right there. His upside feels as good as anybody after Mike Thomas. I know that sounds crazy, but I'd rather have Mike Evans in round 3 and go building running back strong or running back quarterback than worry about taking that wide receiver in round 1 and not knowing what's there for me, what's going to unfold for me in round 2 and round 3 for running backs. I'd rather take my running back early. I don't use blanket statements or draft strategies heading into any draft. I go with the flow, always take best player available, but 9 times out of 10 or 10 times out of 10, you can take a running back and it be the best player available in round 1. Worry about getting your wide receivers later because Mike Evans, Godwin, those guys are there for you in round 2 and 3. And Golladay. So think about that as you go into your draft. Don't cement yourself into any approach. but start thinking about the Tampa build, because I find when I walk out of my draft with a Tampa built team, I'm real excited. Top 5 running back. You're watching the Fantasy Football Show.
Smitty!